Welcome, welcome to the Net of Light, to the online teaching today, which happens on the first Sunday of every month at this time. If you're here, it's because your heart's called you here, and we welcome you. Our hearts unite at these times, and as we do that, we have a lot to give. A lot is given through us to our beloved earth. You can learn more about the Net of Light and more about this work of the Great Council of the Grandmothers if you go to our website, netoflight.org or grandmotherspeak.com. You can reach us through either of those sites. And those websites, by the way, are loaded with information, songs, interviews, videos, stories, and archives of the grandmother's messages. Today, we're going to be talking about the return of the mother. This is the time that has been foretold throughout all the indigenous cultures, throughout the Hindu Vedas, throughout many, many systems of spirituality on earth. This is the time of the return of the Divine Mother to earth. And so we are here now, and we are vessels for this work. The grandmothers told us early on that they were the grandmothers and that they had come to light the way for the return of the mother. And they added, the world needs mothering now. And so we have come. And we work hand in hand with them. We are their happy little instruments, so glad to be part of this work. And we formed a very strong and loving family of light that exists all over the earth now. You're welcome to it. You're welcome to this work. There's no charge for anything that we do. We're happy to spread their message, and we're really glad you're with us. So before we say another word or do anything at all, we're going to ask Nadia to lead us in the Net of Light meditation so that everything we do together today runs through the grid lines, through the ley lines on our beloved earth, bringing as much good as possible to all life on earth. So thank you, Nadia.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I invite you to take a deep breath into your belly and to feel how your feet are touching the ground, how the soles of your feet are touching the floor. Notice how you feel and take another deep breath. We now call on the grandmothers to surround us, to hold us in their loving embrace. They are always here with us, but it doesn't hurt to call them in once again. We remember our union with the saints, sages, avatars, and the grandmothers. And we call on the ancestors of the light to please join us in strengthening the net of light and holding it for everything that lives. Notice how you feel. Breathe in the air and notice how this air, it goes from you into the net. As you breathe in the air from the net of light, and it goes into your heart. And there's this endless loop of air, it going in and out. And there is no separation. That air is the same within you and without you. So we embrace the element of air in our breathing. And we embrace the earth we sit upon or stand upon. We embrace the earth in our bodies. And we embrace the water in our veins and the waters all around us, holding them in the net of light, the net of light that supports and permeates everything that lives. We embrace the fire in our hearts, fire in our bellies, and the fire without us, the fire of the sun, even the fires that are burning around the world. We hold them in the embrace of the net of light, loving them, calling them home to harmony with the other elements, also holding the ether in the net of light. The ether in our thoughts, in our words, in our song. The ether that connects all other elements. The ether which is so similar to the net of light, which connects and permeates everything that lives. We now cast the net of light to the human family at large. All those who are suffering, who are afraid, who are on the run, and all those who stand up and help them. Cast the net of light to the animal kingdom, to the plant kingdom, especially to our beloved tree beings and the tree root network. And we cast the net of light to Mother Earth herself. We cast the net to the unseen, the nature spirits, the elemental spirits, the devas. And we cast the net to our own dear selves, allowing the net of light to wrap us in this beautiful warm cocoon that holds us and supports us in these times of change, as it supports everything that lives. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. Peace, peace, peace.
Each time we come together like this, we strengthen the net of light that's holding the earth now during these radical times of change we're living through. It's our particular job to do now, and all who want to join us are very welcome to do this. You may call it net of light, you may call it grid of light, you may call it the cosmic web. That's what scientists call it, but it exists throughout time and space forever, going back into what we think of as the past, going forward into what we think of as the future. The net of light is, and we are part of it. And it's our joy to know that and to experience our union with one another and with all life. This grandmother's work has been going on for years now, about 25 years with this group. Uh, and there are others who do work with the net of light as well. They may call it by different names, but it's always the same construct. It is the lighted construct of love that supports life throughout the cosmos. It's this particular planet is in danger now from so much change, so much upheaval on every level, spiritual, emotional, physical, every level. And so we've been given this work to do to anchor the net of light and hold it steady. To this end, the grandmothers have written several books in order to help us to anchor this work more fully on earth and for us to ourselves experience more love, experience who we really are. And so the last book is called The Return of the Mother, and it's just out now. Would one of you hold that up so we can see, they can see what it looks like? Yes, it's got a blue cover, a beautiful painting of Nicholas Rorick's Mother of the World on the cover. You can get this now on Amazon. You can get it through our website. And you can probably get it through a grandmother's group near you. We're going to be talking about this book today because it has a specific focus. All of the grandmother's work is incremental. Each lesson they give builds upon the one before. And so they're taking us further and further as we progress with them. And the work gets bigger, more expansive, and more joyful. At first, when they came, just getting us to understand who they were, what they were here for, who we were, what our work was monumental. And so the first book, A Call to Power, The Grandmothers Speak, was about that. And then from there, each book built on that. And now we have The Return of the Mother. So before we talk about Return of the Mother, I'm going to sing just a little verse from a song that has to do with this whole concept of the mother and who we are in relationship to her. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. First time I heard that, I thought, oh, that's blasphemy. How can I say I'm one with God? I can't say that. I'm here groveling around on earth as this little bitty being, and God is this tremendous force up there, out there somewhere. So I had a lot to learn, and it's been a great joy to learn it. And the return of the mother puts into really clear words what's going on now, what's happening on earth, and what is happening inside us. Because it's the return of the feminine principle of creation, the return of the Divine Mother, the return of the uptick of yin energy. And we are part of that. And the world is starved for it. So I've asked a couple of the grandmothers to be together today to talk about this with me. And so, what I'd like to do is ask Peggy and Phyllis to come on with me now and to together to share, because you've read the book or are reading it now, and so I asked you for what you're learning and what your opinion is, and then I also got some feedback from James, who many of you know, who's uh, is in a grandmother's group. I think he's running it, by the way, in Washington State, and also Constance, who's in Southern California but couldn't be with us because her internet connection isn't strong enough. So I'll share some of her words. Um, I'll start with something that Constance says, that I've been discovering that different people have also been experiencing. It surprised me when I read it, but then I wasn't surprised at all. Constance writes, I no longer call on the grandmothers, the net of light, or the Holy Mother as if they are far away and separate from me. They are part of me now, one with me, a we, or I am the embodiment of the divine feminine. Rather than this being a mental construct, it is slowly and occasionally being a felt sense of knowingness in my body and mind. I am beginning to live this. Working with each of the elements has also made this more real for me. Air, I think of air now in my breath and in my mind. I think of the fire of my spirit and of my emotions in the water and the earth in my body. All of these things have become very real to her, and she realizes this oneness. So that's the first thing I wanted to share that's come out since getting feedback on this particular book, The Return of the Mother. So I'd like to ask, you can talk about what dovetail onto what Constance talked about, or you can take it somewhere else. But I know you both very well, Peggy and Phyllis, and I know you're deep thinkers. So share with us whatever you want to share about the impact of this book on you.
I so completely agree with what Constance wrote to you, Sharon. I have been discovering the very same thing, that the divine is not an external agent to me anymore. It's not 100%, but when I think about starting the work many years ago and do a comparing then and now, I feel as if I'm walking in a different psyche, a different body, because I have seated so much of what the grandmothers have been teaching all along. But I think it was baby steps of my learning, and now suddenly giant strides are coming instead of the baby steps. And it's because my appeal is not going out there, please, please, just let me be an open channel, be a vessel for this. That's my wish, that's my intention, but there's much more of a knowing or a remembrance that I'm already that. And once I got past the resistance of being with the divine, because as you said, Sharon, who am I? You know, this groveling, unworthy worm. It's kind of no holds barred with seating the divine within me. And so I'm still learning how that feels. Constance wrote about, or I perceive that it wasn't a completion, but sometimes she has such a knowing that there's this union. And that's where I am with it also. So it's very joyful, but it's kind of sort of new ground because I realized that I've been doing a push me pull you, wanting it, yearning for it. But oh no, not, it can't be that I'm really God on earth. So so it's that. But one more thing before we get to hear Phyllis. As I realize how fast I have read the fourth book and compare and contrast to how slowly I read the first three books, it's clear that there was just this fertilizing of the ground that the divine had to do but once things took root, wow, now it's like, oh my gosh, I've read the fourth book already. Now, when I read it again, and I always have to read everything at least 3 times if it comes from the grandmothers, I'll probably pick up all kinds of things that say, how in the world did I miss that point? How could I have, wow, that's so important. But all that said, I have read the book and I love it. And I say, yes. oh, okay, Phyllis.
I love it. Peggy, you're ringing this bell. That's what I just had this image of a bell ringing and resounding of all the voices and the sharings of experiences. I really resonate with them. I got this book about, maybe let's say a week ago. And I was in a parking lot. I tore my package open and I was looking at the book. And this word that just came to me was pivotal, that the word pivotal. And that's what it feels like for me as I am continuing to read. And I haven't completed it, but maybe I'm halfway through. And I feel like things I've been working with and living with and uncovering and evolving for decades, like curtains are going up. And I can feel the connection, the work with the elements and the elemental spirits of nature just is what is pivotal to working and intensifying and strengthening my relationship to the net of light and this work and this connection with all of you and seen and unseen. I just get how this is our nature. This is my nature. And it's just, there's something in this book for me that is just peeling off the cellophane covering or something that is more real. And for me, it's this connection through nature, through the goddess energy of the earth and the relationship to the heavens, which, I've, in my work before, I have felt at a distance from, at a removal from, that I really wanted it, but it was away from me. And this is vulnerable to share for me. I was sitting this morning with my husband at breakfast and we were drinking coffee and talking. And he said, he observed what he has seen in me in the work with the net of light and the grandmothers. And he sees me owning it in a way and living it, that it's genuinely coming from me and that I'm a part of it. It's a part of me. And I don't know, this book, it's the heart of the mother.
And it is utterly accessible to us.
Yes.
Because we are a home place for her to live in. And she can't operate here on earth except through us, except through human beings.
Yes.
We are the plugs in the wall for the Divine Mother to plug into. She carries the charge, the tremendous charge of loving nurturance and support of all life, reverence for all life. But unless there's a place for her to plug in, that can't be used. And so allowing myself, and I'm hearing this from you too as well, allowing ourselves to be these plugs, these receptacles, is the joy of life. And, you know, we've been at it a long time. We've been working with the grandmothers for quite a while, and we're in the three of us are in the latter portion of life. So we've had a long life and a life filled with spiritual pursuit, the thirst and hunger for God, for truth, to know. And we've been hot on the trail for a long time.
Warriors on the trail.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm here to tell everybody it pays off. It pays off. And also, I think for the younger people, you won't have to be at it as long as we've been at it, because because we go before you, and those who came before us lit the way for us. And then you in turn will light the way for those coming after you. And it will get easier and easier for each generation to reach this place of loving oneness with the divine, with one another, with all life, so that there's this festival of joy going on this planet, which certainly needs it. And we're here now to feel that joy and live that joy. So I'd say start wherever you are. And if the grandmother's books appeal to you, and if this work appeals to you, then use it as a sadhana, a spiritual discipline for yourself. And, go back to it and read it and pick it up, play grandmother's roulette, where you just open one of the books to some page and see what they're telling you at that moment. But immerse yourself in it. There are many paths to the divine, and this is one. And we three are basically saying, wow, this one worked and works. So I invite you to infuse this work into your life too. Again, the only thing we charge for is to buy the book, because we have to pay to get it printed. And if and when we're able to have another gathering, we will charge for the venue where the gathering takes place. But other than that, everything we do as service, and it's a joy to do that. I want to read from James, because it's so fun and so good to hear something from a man, because most of us involved in this work are women. But this is from James, who's a lovely, lovely man. And he's talking about the return of the mother. And he says the statement on page 17 that men are ancillary to our work, that they're not necessary to the task at hand, was so powerful in the way it lets me and all men off the hook. I started to read that and thought, oh, he's going to be mad. He's going to be mad about being left out. But no, he was relieved. And he goes on and he says, day in and day out, it is drilled and beat into men and boys this idea that we must fix and do and repair every single problem life presents. It's a hang up and so unbearable, and it breaks us to the core. It shatters us into sharp little things that cut everyone cut everyone around us. What a genuine relief it is. What a supporting statement to grasp the fact that we as men can not only be on the sidelines, but that's our role at present. Thank you for that powerful statement. It has reversed the ever present constriction around my heart and allowed a lovely feeling to my inner being to come alive. What a powerful thing, this feeling of yin. I think it's really important, and I'm so grateful to men like James who share these things with us. It's really important for us to know that as we step up and we step into leading this way back to balance, as we as women accept, wow, it is our turn. It's our turn to lead. And as the grandmothers say, it can be no other way. As we do this, we help the men, not only the women, but the men. We help them all. It's time for the return of the mother. It's time for our hearts to open, for us to be held in this kind of love, this overreaching, never ending love and joy of being part of the fabric of life, part of the net of light, part of this oneness, living and loving together in this. So I think we're getting close to being out of time, but we have a little more time. So I wanted to ask, especially Peggy and Phyllis, if you have anything more to share that you think about when you think about this whole concept that we're living now, the feminine. It's okay. It's okay. I can't hear you, Phyllis.
The joy of getting to be this, to live this. It's pretty delicious.
It's more than I ever expected to have, certainly. I didn't know it was possible.
Mm-hmm. The subtle warrior, that line in the book that you describe, experiencing being the subtle warrior, there's so much joy in being willing to hold it.
Yes, to hold the joy, to hold the light, and not to need attention for it. In fact, not even to want attention for it, but just to be there, feeding in the light. Yeah.
And reading this morning from this fourth book, I was struck with something that because of the net of light and the fact that we are yin as women, we are purely yin with the yang that holds and supports us, but our nature is the yin. And I always think of vessels. If I've got a few too many things in my house, it's vases and bowls, because I love the reminder. When I look at them, I think of being a vessel, an open vessel. And because of the nature of the net of light, the thought that came to mind this morning was that all of the amazing experiences you've had, Sharon, in the upper world, the lower world, all that has flowed out from those experiences, we have experienced too, because we are connected. Early on, I did a lot of soul searching, because why can't I have those kinds of experiences? I'm a good person. This is okay. You're good. All that stuff that the ego just trots out at a moment's notice. And reading today, I had a deeper understanding that it has happened to you, and because you have shared it, with us, we get to claim the beauty of it for ourselves and then pass it on.
Yeah.
And so I no longer feel like the unworthy outcast and all of that crazy stuff, because it is crazy. That our culture has taught us that, and it's hard to unlearn. My adulthood has been a process of unlearning, and it's just really not the issue it used to be. It was like, yo, you go, girl, and I'm glad I've gone with you. But also a sense of responsibility too, to let others know if they're interested. Let them know, because it is so powerful and so valuable.
And so much fun
So
to
much
share. So while we were talking, this song just keeps going through my mind. So I'm going to sing it, because it's especially what I read about from James made me think about this. We used to do this together when we could meet together. I'll do the motions too. You guys who know it, you can do the motions with me. From the heavens to the earth, from the earth to the hearts of women, to the hands and the heads of men. From the heavens to the earth, from the earth to the hearts of women, to the hands and the head of men. It passes that way. It passes that way. And we as women are in this blessed position of being able to pass it on. As the grandmothers say, pass it on. Pass it on to those who don't yet have it. Pass it on. So if you've read one of the books and you want to receive the Grandmother's Empowerment, that's something we're happy to pass on to you. Just contact us and we'll arrange it. There's no charge for that. And once you receive the Grandmother's Empowerment, pass it on to the next person who wants it. It is for everyone who wants it. The empowerment is basically an awakening of the own beauty power that lives within you. It's part of this time of awakening, and you can awaken more and more and have more and more joy. The grandmother's promise, we will give you more and more love, and we will increase your ability to hold it and give it. And they never say a word that isn't true. So cash in on that. So wonderful to all be together. Thank you so much, Peggy and Phyllis and Nadia, for starting us off with the net of light, and Diane and Kate, who are also with us, and to every single blessed one of you. We love you, love you, love you. And we'll be back next month, first Sunday. Okay. Bye-bye.